Today we are in module 2, and today's yoga practice, we're going to do a little bit of vinyasa, finishing up with a little bit of yin. So if you're not familiar what yin is, yin we're going to hold poses for 1 to 5 minutes. We're not going to hold for 5 minutes today, about 90 seconds for most poses, and that's going to kind of help us relax and release those muscles. So if you're familiar with foam rolling, yin is another way to kind of foam roll, and it gets that fascia deep into that tissue that's on here that needs to be released on a lot of us. All right, so there's many benefits of yin, one of my personal favorite ways to practice. All right, so let's go to our mats. We're gonna go ahead and start on all fours. We're gonna start with a few cat-cows. So coming to all fours, shoulders and wrists right aligned with each other. You're gonna sink down and you're gonna arch that back up as you drop your head. One way that I like to think about this is thinking of an ant and following an ant, going between to the top of my mat and then following that ant back to my knees. Remembering to breathe. Now we're going to add a little child's pose into this. So on our cat back, we're going to sit back into a child's pose. We're going to take an inhale here, exhale, you're going to snake across the mat, going in to a cow back to the cat back on the exhale, and then back down. So we're going to take a couple of more of these on your own breath. So inhale, you hold the pose, exhale, moving through. One more. And then exhale, coming back to all fours. We've got bird dogs next, so taking that opposite thumb and foot back, so your heel's up, thumb is up, holding it here, and then release on your exhale. Inhale, hold, and release on that exhale. As we're doing this, we're focusing on keeping those hips still and level, so we want a level back. One more. Good. Curl those toes under, push it back, down dog. So this is our first down dog of the day. Go ahead and wiggle those feet out, pushing those heels down, rocking your hips side to side, just warming up, feeling whatever your body needs today. And then go ahead and look through those hands, either step or jump your feet behind the hands. Forward fold here, halfway lift. Forward fold, and rising all the way up to mountain, releasing those hands. All right, we're gonna start with a warrior one. So go ahead and step back with your left foot. And I like a little bit wider than a heel to heel alignment. So go ahead and take that right foot out just a little bit wider, turning that back toes so they're slightly forward and at an angle. Put a bend into that front knee. Arms rise up, holding here, warrior one. So we're trying to keep those hips even, and you're engaging through that right glute, getting a nice stretch here. Taking another deep breath in. And then opening up, warrior two. Sliding those feet, so your toe is now going to be facing forwards, heel to arch alignment, bend into that front knee, arms rise up, warrior two. Gaze is out past your middle finger. Torso, hips, everything is in alignment, so you're not leaning too far forwards. And then taking that back arm back, reverse warrior. Feeling that stretch and open through that side body. And back to warrior two. Relaxing those shoulders down. And exhale, right angle, placing that right forearm on that right thigh, lifting the left arm up to the sky. Again, trying not to put a ton of weight in here, or you can straighten that arm down and go down towards the ground. Gaze can be up or down, whatever feels best to your neck. And then go ahead and place your hands on each side of the foot, stepping it back, high plank. And chaturanga down. Cobra, Curl those toes under, push it back, down dog. Good, we're gonna do the same thing now, other side. So let's lift that left leg up to the sky. Place that left foot between the hands. Turn those back, heel down, taking that foot out a little bit wider, rising up, warrior one. Again, we're trying to keep those hips, trying to get them forwards if you can, holding those arms up, shoulders relaxed. Nice deep breaths here. Try not to have your ribs pop open. Try to keep that nice and tucked in so that core is working. One more breath here. And then we're gonna open up warrior two. Taking that back, heel to arch alignment. Bend into that front knee. Gaze is past that middle finger. And then go ahead and reverse angle, a reverse warrior. Taking that arm down the side, stretching out that side body. And the deeper you breathe, the more you're gonna get into those tight areas. Exhale, back warrior two. And then put a bend into that front elbow, that left arm down, that left thigh, right arm up to the sky. Holding here or releasing down towards the ground. You can use a block if you have one available. One more breath here. And releasing those hands on each side of the foot, stepping it back, high plank, chaturanga down, and cobra. And let's push it back, child's pose. Toes can be together, knees can be out wide, or knees can be together. It just depends what feels best to your body. And nice deep breath here. And coming out of child's pose. Back to tabletop, curl those toes under, push it back, down dog. Looking between the hands, stepping or jumping those feet up. Forward fold, halfway lift. It's okay to have a bend in those knees too if you're doing these, and rising all the way up. Releasing those hands back down. All right, next we're gonna do a little bit of a balance posture. So this is called tree pose. So I'm gonna give you a couple options. Option one, you can keep that toe on the ground, placing your heel right on that ankle. Your hips are trying to square. We're not trying to dump into that hip, so nice and tight here. Second option, you can place that foot on that calf. Just make sure it's not over the knee joint. Third option, you can help it out and place it above on that thigh, just not on that knee joint again. So we're holding tree, find your pose there. Place your hands at heart center. And a smile on that face. And go ahead and release your branches. And you can move those arms around. I have beautiful trees that I'm surrounded by right now, so I'm just pretending I am one of the trees. And if you really want to make it a challenge, you can close your eyes. And then go ahead and bring that knee back to the center and place that foot down. We're going to switch sides. So you're going to try to do it, if you can, on the same way that you held the first pose. So either here, here, or up. And again, hands at heart center. And you can see this is not my best side. And then you can open those arms up. And everyone usually has a pose that's one side is easier than the other. And all that I'm going to do, I'm just going to let it go. This side has always been my tougher side. I'm just letting that go. That's what we're working on this week. Let it go. Focusing on that breath. And then releasing that knee back to center and then back down. All right, we're gonna go into a wide leg straddle pose. Take those feet out wide. You want them a little bit outside that the shoulders. Toes can be facing forward to start, arms straight out, and we're gonna forward fold it down. And now here, you're just gonna get a little movement, working side to side, slight knee bends, letting that head hang down. And then go ahead and find stillness. So again, if your hamstrings are really tight like mine are, slight knee bend is totally fine. Yoga is not about being super bendy or flexible, it's where you're at. That's why it's called a practice. Everyone's practice is different and everyone's journey is different. Go ahead and keep your left hand on the ground. Open that right arm up to the sky in a little twist here. Try to keep those hips level, so you're not dumping into one hip again, trying to keep those hips nice and level. Your twist might not be as big then because you might have some tightness somewhere else. Just like myself. That's why I like to show everyone, you don't have to be super flexible to do yoga. And then releasing that hand down. Let's take the left arm up to the sky. It's all about where you're at. And if you've never done a class before, letting go of that ego and trying to hop into a class. I go to classes all the time and I'm the least flexible person there. And I'm a yoga teacher and I still love it. And then releasing that hand back down. So from here, you're gonna turn your heels in, your toes are gonna be out, and we're gonna rise up. Arms are gonna be out, one of my favorite poses, goddess pose. So we're gonna be here, I just want you guys to move side to side, feeling your inner goddess. So in yoga, there's tons of different goddesses, and I won't go into the details here, but you can pretend if you know goddesses or any of the goddesses, you can pretend you're one of them. Shiva is a popular one, or Durga. And go ahead and find that stillness, just sitting right here in your goddess. Opening up that chest, palms up, breathing here. Lift those toes up, and then place them back down. We're not gripping into those toes, we're not grasping, we're letting go. And then go ahead and rise up. And step that feet back, or to the top of the mat. I'm gonna show you the full Sphinx pose. You're gonna lie down on your stomach. Your palms are palms down, and your chest is lifted. Your toes are together, and this is Sphinx. This is where you're gonna hang out. Your head can be not looking up and cranked. You can be just like here. If that's too hard in the low back, you can take it down a notch and just start from here and work up to that. So we're holding here, and yin is usually in silence, so I'm going to be quiet now for the next 90 seconds. Focusing on the breath. I lied, I'm not quiet. But in case you've never done it, focus on your breath. Exhale, releasing tension or tightness. Keep those shoulders down. All right, and to come out of that, go ahead and release the head and just release all the way back down to the mat. And you kind of rest one ear down if you need to. Hands can be beside the chest. And we'll go ahead and switch sides. Just get a little stretch in that neck, releasing that low back. And it's important in yin to kind of do a little counter pose after you're done, just to kind of release. Let go, our theme of the week. And then we're gonna go ahead and push back to our knees. All right, on our next yin pose, this one we're gonna hold for a minute on each side. You can hold this a little longer if you want. It's one of my favorites. It's a love-hate relationship with a lot of people. This is a hip opener. This is pigeon pose. I'm gonna show you two options. If you know that pigeon is not for you or the knees are too bad, here's option one. You're just gonna sit on your rear end, take one knee across, and you'll simply stay here. Now, the closer in you bring that foot, the harder it is. If you're like, okay, I can do that pretty easily, go ahead and lie down. My mic pack is right there, so I'm gonna move it just a little bit. Lie down, pull that knee in, and this can be another option for you. Or if you're ready for full-fledged pigeon, we are gonna go into full-fledged pigeon. So from that, I like to get into it from a down dog. So down dog, place that right knee behind the right wrist. Bring that left ankle across. Try to get that ankle as close to the top of the mat as you can. Before we go into a sleeping pigeon, even those hips out. So maybe you stay here. Maybe this is where your body's telling you to stop. It's all about ease and comfort. Or if you want to go a little deeper, go ahead and walk those hands down and go take it to a sleeping pigeon. And again, we're going to be here for 1 minute. So breathing and relaxing and opening that hip up. Working on letting it go. Last few breaths. And then go ahead and press up onto your hands if you were in sleeping pigeon. Curl that back toe under, pushing it back down dog. And let's just shake that side out before we go into the other side. And go ahead and bring that left leg up high to the sky. Place that left knee behind the left wrist. Bring that left ankle across to the right wrist. Uncurl the back toes. You're either here or once again taking it down to that sleeping pigeon. Holding it here for a minute, and you might find one side is tougher than the other or more challenging, and that is totally normal. That's the human body for you. You gotta love it. And releasing and surrendering to the pose. Surrendering to the body of the day. And then coming back up to those hands and releasing back down dog again, shaking those hips out, wiggling it side to side. And then dropping down to those knees. And we're gonna go ahead and take a seat. Our next one, this one is one of my love to hate because my hamstrings are always very tight. So this one is a forward fold. We're gonna hold this again 90 seconds. Your feet are gonna be flexed. And you might literally just be here because your hamstrings are on fire. Or I'm not gonna be able to demonstrate the full pose. I will demonstrate the full pose in my body. So your back is nice and straight, and go ahead and walk those hands down. And you're gonna stop where your back can stay straight. If I went farther, my back is gonna look like that, and that's too far. I'm losing the pose. So I am literally right here. I can feel it in my hamstrings, my back is straight, my core is engaged. This is where I'm holding for 90 seconds. You find your healthy edge. And as you breathe into it, you might be able to find yourself going a little deeper. As long as you can keep the integrity of the pose, that is A-okay. And then slowly walk your hands back up the legs. And then releasing that, go ahead and pull those knees into the chest. Just still slight rock side to side. And then we're gonna finish with our last yin pose before Shavasana. So this one, you're gonna go ahead and lie down on your back, and we're gonna do a little spinal twist. We're gonna hold each side for 1 minute. So go lie down on the back. Arms are gonna be out in a T. I'm gonna show you 2 options for the twist. Option 1, you keep your left knee bent, right leg over the top, and then you can just simply drop those knees towards the left side as your gaze is over the right side. And then slowly exhaling as you bring those legs back to the center. Hug both of them into the chest. Rock them around before we do that last side. Good, finding that stillness. Arms back to those T's. Take that first position that you did on the other side. So if you crossed one leg over, go ahead and take that variation, or if you took the leg straight, do that variation. Drop those knees to the side. Gaze over that left shoulder, keeping that left shoulder pinned down, and then relaxing into it here. And then go ahead and exhale, bringing those knees back to the center. And we're just gonna do a little happy baby, even those hips out, grabbing the inside arches of the foot, the toes, the outside, whatever you can grab, or maybe it's just the ankles. That's totally fine. Rock it side to side before we melt into our final Shavasana, our yumminess. And then we're gonna go into our final Shavasana. We're gonna be here for a couple minutes. If you have a bolster, you can place it underneath your knees. I forgot to bring mine out here today, so I do not have one. Otherwise, go ahead and lie down on your back. Legs are straight. You can let those palms up to the sky, open to receiving. Your toes can fall out. And again, I'm gonna leave us in silence. I'm gonna ring a bell when it's time to come out. Relaxing, melting down, releasing tension in the shoulders, the hips, the knees, the forehead. Open and close the jaw. And melt down to the earth. That sound means it's time to start waking up the body by wiggling the fingers and toes, rocking the head side to side, pulling the knees into the chest. Then go ahead and roll over onto that left side, taking that left arm straight out, knees bent, taking one breath here. And then using that right hand to push yourself up into a comfortable seated position. Legs can be crossed. Reach up, eyes can be closed still. Reach up those arms up overhead, bringing the palms to touch. Placing the palms at the third eye or in between the eyebrows, your intuition. Positive thoughts. Bringing them down to your lips. Positive words. And bringing it to heart center. Positive actions. Namaste.